Welcome. Thanks for coming out. I'm Rick Day. I'm going to be the moderator of today's session. So we've got an hour together with our candidates. Just some housekeeping things. There's 5 candidates, obviously. We have 3 positions that will be open on the board. We all have vetted all of their applications. Everything's cool. They're good to go, so that's why they're on the ballot. We're going to kind of just, everybody will be able to go up, ask a question. Please use the microphone so everybody at home can hear it. If you don't use the microphone, then it's hard for them to understand what you're saying. So please use the microphone so everybody knows that. We're going to ask questions. You can ask a question. I'll give all of the candidates an opportunity to answer if they choose. They can respond and give their 2 cents worth on that. So as we get rolling, we'll give them an opportunity to start. They can introduce themselves, just kind of a 10,000 feet elevator speech on, who they are, how long they've been in the park, kind of their background, just a general information. We'll just move through all that, and then we'll give them an opportunity at the end as well to give their final kind of why you should vote for me speech. So again, it's not a debate, so you can ask questions. The candidates can respond. We're not going to go back and forth. We have an hour. We want to make sure we use the time wisely so everybody has an opportunity to get all their questions answered. Sound good? All right. Thank you. Let's start right with Jill. You can go ahead and give us your bio, if you will, and we'll go from there.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Jill Grung. I live in K259, which is Phase 5. I'm a retired CPA and spent most of my working life auditing nonprofit organizations, so I feel like I have a good background to step in and participate in the board right off the get-go. I have been living here in Sandy Pines all summer for the past, this is my 3rd or 4th year, I don't know. You lose track when you have so much to do here. And in the off-season, I live locally in Jenison.
Great, thank you. Angie?
That's it? All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Angie Coupler. I am in 4182, right across from the ropes course. Down that little lane, if you keep walking, you'd run right into it. We also have a condo in 7050, so all the money we're talking about affects me double, so remember that. We moved here in September 2022, Labor Day weekend, and we bought our condo in June of 2024. We want to be closer to our grandkids who are all in Hudsonville. Thank you very much.
Patience or Pat?
Okay, we'll just do it this way. My name is Patience Pike. I go by Pat. We are in 1327 over in Phase 3. And my husband and I this is our 7th summer. So we bought in October of 2018. I remember the date, it was the 26th. We signed and we spent our first weekend here. And this has been our favorite place ever since. My background is in education. I retired from Battle Creek Public Schools a year ago. And then I've picked up another job. I'm going to start working at Climax Scott's High School. And the best thing about that is I'm 9 minutes away from my job, where before I was like 30 minutes away from my job. My degree is in mathematics, and I have a special education master's. I really love teaching, so that's it.
Thank you. Brad?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Brad Hutchins, and we're in lot 545 in Phase 2. My wife and I have almost 45 years, have been at Sandy Pines for 10 years. This is our 10th season now. And I've had the pleasure of meeting so many great people. We just love it here. The people are so nice and so welcoming. And, I kind of wish this was around a campfire, because that's where a lot of good communications and friends are built. My background is in primarily healthcare and fundraising. I started off as a speech pathologist with my master's degree there, and education in special ed. and became a hospital administrator over time. And I wasn't having any fun with that because that was right when managed care was coming in, and I was having to lay people off all the time. So I thought the guy doing fundraising was having a much better job. So I ended up being a fundraiser or chief development officer for several organizations, but the two that you probably have heard are the American Academy of Pediatrics and the National Easter Seals. There was their chief development officer as well. I've also had the pleasure of volunteering my time to be on the Long Range Planning Committee. I think it's been about 5 years now in the Long Range Planning, and most recently on a cross-functional team that's been looking at the long-range issues. We can talk more about that as we go forward, but this is a terrific place, and I look forward to the opportunity, should you choose, for me to help continue to volunteer my time to move this organization forward.
Thank you. Craig?
My name is Craig Van Beek. So I grew up here in the 70s, and then I got a job here in the 90s when I was going to college. I worked here for 25 years, left here and went into the ministry. So I pastor. I've been pastoring for almost 10 years now up in Burnups. And a few years ago, 3 years ago, I decided to run for the board. I thought being a member, we bought back in a year after I left working here to raise my kids here because I know how much this place means to me. How much I enjoy it. Again, I've spent almost my entire life here, so I thought I brought a different aspect of being a child raised here, an associate member, an employee, and then a member. And so I thought I'd bring a different aspect and a little bit of knowledge and history to the position. As far as what else I do, so I've served on school board for 6 years. I was the vice chair for 1 year and chair for 3 years. I've served on boards for almost 12 years. Currently, I'm a county commissioner in Allegan, where I serve as vice chair there. And so serving on boards, I've done that for a very long time. I understand how those work and the view that they have and the role that they have. And so I just wanted to bring that here because I care so much about Sandy Pines. We enjoy it. We love being here. We want to retire here someday, hopefully sooner rather than later. But we'll see how long that goes, how long I work. But as again, I just want to continue to serve, just have the opportunity to serve. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll start. Any member who wants to come up to the mic, make sure that it's on, and you can ask your question, and then we'll kind of roll from there. Thank you.
Y'all know I'm shy. Ellen Carpenter, lot 1073. I would like to know what your volunteer experiences have been at Sandy Pines. To me, that means a lot.
Okay, Jill, go ahead.
Okay. Well, you know, I've been here for just a short time. Last year, I did apply for 2 committees, but they were full and couldn't get on, so I decided to run for the board, and as you know, I didn't get on last year. Trying again. I did serve on the school district in Illinois, the 3rd largest school district in that state, for 6 years, and for 2 of those years, I was the treasurer. And more recently, right here in Sandy Pines, my friend Mary and I started a solo mingling organization, solo mingling at Sandy Pines, primarily because we found when we met each other that it was sometimes difficult for us to even go to events inside Sandy Pines alone. And we didn't want to walk in alone, and we realized that there were other people like us, men and women, who didn't have a partner or a significant other, because that's our focus, and we have grown it in a year to approximately 40 members, and we do things inside the park with each other and outside the park with each other. And I'm proud to say that there are at least 2 members that have told us that they had their place for sale, and now that they found a community within Sandy Pines, they took them off the market.
Thank you. All right, Angie, go ahead.
In my bio, I wrote been a PTO and PTO president on two different schools. I helped set up bylaws for a new school that we helped set up down in Portage, Kalamazoo area. Volunteering here, I tried to get on some committees, but as you all know, there's not very many committees left. They're all full. And I got a phone call to join one of the committees, and I said I can do it, but I won't be here. I was out of town for that meeting. And they said, that's okay, come the next time. So I said, okay, I was planning on it. Me and another gentleman couldn't make it. I come back to the board meeting, and they already appointed 2 people to that committee. So we need to figure out how we get on the committees, how to make sure the committees are being turned over, how we can get new ideas in the committees, but that's another story. Anyway, VBS. I've done VBS ever since I've been here. I've got 4 grandbabies now, and so I pretty much do all my volunteer time taking care of the grandbabies, making sure they're having fun around here. Halloween, if you guys did the Halloween trick-or-treat last year, I was Ursula. We had the Under the Sea golf cart. The grandbabies all dressed up. We passed out candy and everything. This year, if you come, we're going to be the flamingos, and my whole family's involved, all 2 daughters, all 4 grandbabies, son-in-laws, and everything. So if there's something going on, we try to immerse ourselves into the park and into the activities. I think it's important that we keep activities going, especially for my grandbabies, because when they come out here, I don't want to be stuck in a trailer with 4 grandbabies. So if there's anything that comes up, we were in the parade this year. So it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of things to do around here. There's a lot of ways to get involved. And sometimes you're trying to get involved and you just hit a wall. So that's one of the things I'd like to get changed so more people can get involved with stuff. Thank you.
Thank you. Pat, and we'll just try to keep to answer the questions, and then we'll get as we go so everybody has an opportunity. Stick to the point if we can. Go ahead, Pat.
So I have been on the finance committee for the last 5 years. And then recently I joined the safety and securities committee, and I am also the library chair here at Sandy Pines.
Thank you. Brad?
I've been on several boards outside of Sandy Pines as well, and but to be specific to Ellen's question about what I've done for the park specifically, I'm on the on the long-range planning committee, and that committee is charged with looking at the long-term health and well-being and needs of this park. I've been on that committee for about 5 years, and in addition to that, then the cross-functional committee that's looking at the resolution to how do we maintain this park and a long-term strategy. So I know that's a big topic for us this year on this election, and it's a really critical one. We've spent hours and hours and hours studying what the recommendations were from this outside organization in terms of how do we make this park a viable, living, strong organization moving forward. And we spent hours before that in the long-range planning committee looking at what are the needs of the members. We based our actions at the long-range planning committee through surveys to our membership here today.
Again, I don't want to cut you short, but just let's answer the question, and then we'll...
Okay. And through that survey is how we came to this point of developing that strategy. So I'll be glad to talk to you individually more about that if you're interested.
Thank you, Brad. Craig.
Yeah, so before the board, specifically, I did not serve on anything before the board when I was elected to the board. But after that, I served on library committee, the golf course committee. I served on the committee with Brad as we look for our capital investment. So I've served on that as the chair. Like, I'm extremely involved. I try to talk to Jeff, 3, 4, 5 times a week to see kind of where we are. So while I don't sit on every committee inside of there, I try to keep my finger on the pulse, at least to have an idea or a 10,000-foot level of kind of what's going on.
Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
All right. Jeff Colbert, D128. I'll try to make it a real quick question. So Sandy Pines, is, as we know, is a member-owned community. Many members believe the true pulse of Sandy Pines isn't found in the boardroom, it's found in campfire conversations or neighborhood walking. We do that quite often. These conversations consistently reflect a different view than what the boards has on a lot of the major issues. When this happens, in your opinion, if the community says one thing and the board wants to go a different direction, who should prevail and also why? And if ever, is it appropriate for a board member to substitute their own personal opinions for what the members want?
Thank you. There was a couple questions in there, but we'll again, this isn't a debate, so just listen up, and we'll make sure everybody gets an opportunity to answer. So we'll go ahead, and Jill, we'll go with you first, so Jill don't have to keep answering all the time. You can start right out. I don't want her to think we're picking on her by going first every time.
There's a lot of questions in there.
That's it. Just stick to the two. They basically said if you disagree with the board, who should prevail, and if you have a personal interest, should that override as a board member?
Oh, this will be a short and sweet answer. The members are in charge of the board. The members should be the ones who, it's their opinion, it's their decision, this is their park. They should be the one running, the board should be reporting to them. Thank you.
All right, let's go ahead, Pat.
I agree. It's our park, and we should be the ones deciding as members, not my personal interest, but those campfire conversations should hold a lot of weight when you're on the board.
Thank you. Brad?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all are going to say the same thing because we are members too. We are just the ones that are, if you're on the board, you get the final vote and things, but you have to listen to members. That's where it all comes from.
Craig?
I do. So when we are elected, we're elected to represent you and to have a vote. And so you can do it two ways. You can not have board members, where then everything can go to the membership to vote for everything. We can vote to mow grass today. We can vote to pick up leaves today. We can get down to the nitty-gritty if you want to go to that far, but you do elect people to vote for you. Now, we do have to listen to what you want. And so that's why some of the things we put out, the capital investment, everyone doesn't agree with that, but we want to hear what you want to vote. We want to hear your opinion. We're not trying to push that through. We're just saying, here, we're going to put it out for you. So, yes, we do want to listen for sure. There's absolutely no question. But I also want to hear your vote. I want to hear what you have to say, and then if we have to pivot, we'll pivot.
Okay, Jill?
Okay. Now, although walking around the park and talking to your neighbors and having campfire conversations is, you find a lot of similarities in, and sometimes dissension in your own opinions with these conversations, but it's hard to know if that's the majority. So I would first encourage people to organize and then come as a group to the administration and or the board and vote, voice your concerns or opinions so that they can see that there's a mass that feels a certain way instead of all these individual conversations, that might come forward, which are equally important, but the magnitude of that can be impacting. Secondly, the second question you asked is, no, I would never go with my own beliefs. I would listen to the constituents, the membership, and go with what the majority felt, because I'm representing them if elected.
Thank you, Jill. All right, and another quick one, because we got to make sure everybody, and then we can recycle through, but go ahead.
Clarification. So basically, I should have asked, and I apologize for it being convoluted, that if every social media, every survey, every campfire conversation, everything says no, at what point would you as candidates say, all the evidence is showing no, but I'm going to vote yes? What would be the trigger that you would know better than all of the, even Facebook, social media, campfire conversations, all those? What would trigger you to say, I hate to say it like that, I know better?
None of that would trigger me to say I know better. It goes back to the membership.
Thank you. And just real quick, does anybody want to respond to that? Go ahead.
I've got a
Yep,
quick
go
answer.
ahead, no problem.
Common sense.
And again, as a rule, like I said, social media is really not the role of that's not the information path, but that gets us in a lot of trouble. Go ahead, young lady.
Hi, my name's Mary Hull Hendricks. I'm at site 5004 on Cove Drive. I'd like to know from all of you, what are your biggest concerns about the future of Sandy Pines?
Thank you. We'll start with Pat.
want to, excuse me, I want to keep it where it is. So putting in the maintenance that we need to put in to keep our buildings, thank you for that word, functional, and to keep everything that makes me love coming out here every summer. As a teacher, I'm out here every summer, from when we get out to when I have to go back. So just maintaining what we have and keeping it as beautiful as it is.
Thank you. Brad, go ahead.
I would say that I have a couple major concerns. One is to maintain this park, and that's what the long-range planning survey came back. That was the number one thing, is to maintain and to protect this investment. And that was the voice of the members, and over 1,200 people responded to that survey. The other major concern is, one of the things I love about this community is that there are a lot of different price points that people can come into this park. And I want to make sure that continues, that we have a lot of different price points that people will feel they can afford to be here. So how do we balance those two things, I think, are my biggest concerns.
Thank you. Crick?
I think the two big things for me would be, and I don't know how you guys feel, but every time I pull up to the gate and I run my card and I drive through, I feel different. I'm in a different place. I exhale from a world that at times is crazy. And I feel like I can exhale and relax. And there's a comfortability in this park and a joy, and some of those outside loud noises are not here. And if I had a way to keep that I would want to keep that feeling. The second part of that would be making sure we maintain the place we love. And that's been a hard conversation ever since I worked here and ever since I've been here. It's a tough conversation when you talk about your dollars. But at some point, I think we have to try to invest in our investment, as Brad said. But the main thing for me is to keep Sandy Pines what it truly is. You know, when you drive around on 4th of July and you see people smiling and laughing and kids having fun, that's what Sandy Pines truly is. And I don't want to get lost in some of the things that we don't agree on or stress us out. I want to maintain that feeling at Sandy Pines.
Thank you, Craig. Jill?
Well, for me, currently, it's three things that are intertwined. Yes, the maintenance of the park and keeping it what we love is important, and these three are not necessarily in any order. So I just am fearful that the plan for the $650 is very grandiose and too long range, because the board's going to change, the membership's going to change, and the administration's going to change over that time frame. I think it should be a shorter version. I'm concerned that the current resolution on the ballot related to the board eligibility and the board being able to replace a board member at their after adjudication, with either, using somebody from the last election cycle or somebody of their choosing is worrisome to me, because that can create a control there. And then the current absentee ballot system, because those items are on the ballot, the absentee ballot system that's in place is worrisome, because there's no real chain of command or control over the absentee ballots 24/7 from an impartial party. And there could be some, it's ripe for dishonesty. Not that there is any going on, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the looks of it are uncomfortable for me. And so, third party should be involved, but that's a story for another day. So they're all intertwined, and those are my concerns.
Angie, go ahead.
Thank you. I'm going to expand a little bit on what Craig said. So when you're pulling into the park, you're pulling into the front gates, what do you guys see? You see trees, you see nature, okay? You can go to the, can go straight, I guess. It's kind of confusing in that intersection, you know. You can go straight into phase 2 and phase 1. What do you see? You see trees, you see fireplace, the fire pits, you see people having fun. You go to the left, what do you see? You see this big building over here. I would like to keep it more the foundation how it was built, with low-key, maintain what we have. We don't need any big FEMA buildings that we're told what we can and cannot do. I think we should be able to make our decisions on how to use a building, when to use a building, and why to use a building. I'd like to keep it, like I said, keep it parked open for 6 months, not 4. We got to make sure we keep it open, we get our money's worth. That's important, and that might take, you know, us stepping up and volunteering, but we need to figure out how, why, and what we can do to make sure this park stays open for 6 full months. And like I said, just keep the foundation. Remember what it was built on. It was built on campfires, family, fun. It wasn't built on grandiose, bringing in the outside cities into the park. Keep this as a park. Keep this as a nice, fun retreat. If you want to go to big cities, big buildings, pay to that, go do that. But come here to forget what's going on out in the world, just to have fun with your family.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Hi, Jane Sleevot, Lot 96. My concern here is I live here all summer, okay? I don't want to have to worry about locking my door every time I walk out. I don't want to have to worry about some kid running in front of my golf cart on their scooter, okay? So security and safety is very, very important to me. We had an incident this year, correct me if I'm wrong, where we had a camping renter come in. They did a check on him, and they immediately removed him from the park because he was dangerous. I would like to know what your opinion is on e-bikes, motorized scooters, and what we can do to screen people coming in. All of us are screened before we become members, but we rent to people that we have no knowledge of. What are we going to do to screen those people to make sure that we are safe here in the place that we pay for?
Thank you. So 2 questions I think came out of that. Scooters and background checks, right? I did the short version, but yeah, the Reader's Digest version, but yeah. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I think those scooters are dangerous. I think the kids need to have fun. I think the kids need to be able to play and enjoy. I believe the Rules Committee is looking at rules to help regulate when they can be on the streets. I'm not sure how to control all of that, but I think the rules of the road need to be as strong for the scooters and the e-bikes as they do for a golf cart. And so how do we get to that point? I think that's important. Regarding screening, that's one thing that's nice about this place is we as members have to be screened to sort of be here, and I think that helps this place be safe. I don't know the answer. I think it's an interesting question, but I don't know the answer because we don't want to be bringing people in here that are going to destroy this place or make us feel unsafe. I mean, I support not opening up like that, but we do that now, so I don't know the way to move forward. That would be something that would have to be assessed.
Thank you. Craig, you want to weigh in on it?
Yeah, the e-bikes and the scooters, I want kids to have fun, there's no question. But even for myself, the other day I had one on my right side in the grass that I didn't see, and I was going to turn by CC8 up here. You know what I'm talking about, like towards the golf course? And my wife's like, watch out, watch out. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I didn't see that young gentleman to my flank, to my right, in the grass riding alongside of me, and I almost hit him. And so we've got to figure something. Do I have the perfect answer for it yet? No, but we've got to figure out something where we can still have fun and not overrule everybody, you know, with too many rules. So there has to be a balance somehow. If there was an easy answer, we would have done it already, right? So the Rules Committee is looking. We're trying to see if we can come up with some better stuff. Because, look, I don't want to see anybody get ran over, right? We don't want to see that. As far as safety, we want to keep this place safe. Like, I know it's getting recorded, but I don't lock my trailer all the time because I feel comfortable here, right? I don't lock my cars all the time because I kind of feel comfortable here. And so it is a concern who comes in. Guest campers do come in. We don't vet guest campers. That's not what we do. But we also don't want too much rangers. You know, you see rangers, but then we want safety. So how do we balance it, right? How do we keep them in the background a little bit, but able to do that? And so Maybe we can do a better job balancing that. But when we see a problem or address a problem, yeah, they have to be removed. I agree. I don't know the situation you're talking about. I can't speak to that specifically. But if people are an issue, alcohol, whatever it is, they're drunk, they need to be removed. And the membership needs to be looked at, like whatever they're doing, because we want to keep everybody safe here. I completely agree with that.
Thank you. Jill, do you want to add anything to that? And again, just in the spirit of time, if you don't have to, if you do, please weigh in. But go ahead, Jill.
Okay, in regards to the campers and the guests, not our guests, but you know, the campers, I guess. There should be some type of background check. Yeah, yes, that would cost money. Yes, that would take additional time of the administration, but to keep us safe, maybe it's something that should be implemented and the cost can be passed on to the camper. So we don't have to incur that cost. And then in regards to the motorized scooters and whatnot, everything else around here is regulated with a motor, even a trolling motor. So maybe something should be done around that. And additionally, maybe some kind of a, you know, the 13-year-olds are trained or tested, I mean, on the golf cart usage. So maybe some kind of a testing so they at least get some basis for proper road etiquette. And some tracking system, a numbering system on those vehicles so that we could call the PSO or we could write it on social media and say, parents, I saw your child, you know, your lot number X, and the parents can address it. That's exactly what I did when my granddaughter was identified by plate number.
Thank you.
So,
go ahead, Angie.
For the motorized scooters, in our handbook, it says that mopeds, anything motorized in our handbook says it needs to have a license plate. So I would assume a scooter is motorized, it should have a license plate on it. It should have some form of identification. So when the person that went around Craig, he could say, oh, that little stinker lives at 40182. I don't have anybody there. But so then we can contact that person, just for their safety as well as for ours. For rent to people, I'm not sure when does the majority of the people sign up to rent for the next season? Do they sign up in the wintertime when it's really slow around here? We could always do a background check on the main person that is renting it, and then say you are responsible for your campsite. If anything should happen at your campsite or with one of your people on your campsite, you will be held responsible. And then you, again, like Jill said, to charge that fee back to the person. And I know when I had a couple businesses, I had to do background checks, and they were like $25. But again, that was like 10 years ago, so they probably have gone up. But again, in the wintertime, off-season, that's when a lot of people are booking their campgrounds, campsites. Use that time to do the background checks on the people.
Thank you. Pat?
So for scooters and e-bikes, for kids under 13, maybe we should have the same kind of thing that we do for golf carts. And we don't have to charge them, and they don't have to have a license, but we teach them how to drive around our campground and how to stop at stop signs and not pass on the right and things like that. And then once they've passed, then they get a little sticker on their moped or on their scooter that says that they've taken that class. So, because a lot of people, we've talked about that in our safety and security meeting. So those are some of the ideas that we've come up with, because we really don't want to charge kids and parents for more for putting e-bikes and the scooters on for kids that are under 13 years old.
Thank you.
For camping,
Go ahead. Nope, go ahead.
that's something that needs to be looked at the park.
Thank you. All right. Next, please. That was a pretty deep sigh.
He's got a lot to say.
For those of you who don't know me, Steve Bono, 5140, Phase 5. I just have one question, and that is because, like I used to tell my ex-wife, just because there's checks in the checkbook doesn't mean there's the money to cover it, all right? And if you get on the board, what are you going to do to stop the frivolous spending? Me personally, I like nostalgia. I like the little dairy dip. 40 years of facilities maintenance with Ford Motor Company, General Motors, and Amazon. Those buildings can be restored. Has anybody ever even looked into it? Has anybody looked into the cost? When you just have a bunch of checks in the checkbook, and you got a bunch of members that you can continually raise the dues on, raise the cost of pump outs, raise the cost of $75. 3 years ago when we came in here, it was $25 for a permit. Now it's $75. It's just going on and on and on. So that's my question. As short as you can make it, are you going to help close the checkbook and pay close attention to where the spending actually goes?
Okay, we'll start with Brad. Oh, go ahead. Well, go ahead, Craig.
Okay. So, yeah, and I appreciate the question. So we all have a different opinion about what frivolous spending would be. There's people that don't use the pool. So we have pools. That takes chemicals, that takes lifeguards, that takes people to do it. To me, maybe that's frivolous spending because I don't use the pool, so I don't need that. So why are you wasting money on that? I don't play pickleball. That's frivolous spending. I don't know why we're wasting money on that. I don't use that. And so some of the buildings that we brought Whitman in to assess the buildings, because I can't assess a building, so we brought an outside organization to look at the buildings and to see what need to be replaced. At some point, you put more money into a building than the value of the building. So at some point, you have to decide, am I going to rebuild the building or keep putting money into a building that actually costs me more to maintain than to build something new? Do I want something massive and grandiose? No, I don't. I agree with you. I like the nostalgia part of it. But we all have our own opinions about what's important to us, and we think about just ourselves. Well, I don't like pickleball, or I don't like the pools, and I don't golf, so we don't need the golf course. We have to, when you're on a board, you have to look at everybody's interests. It's about everybody. So yes, I don't use the Phase 2 pool specifically myself, but I still want dollars to flow there. I still want people to go there and to play that. Whether you play golf, I don't play pickleball, but I want dollars to flow there because people enjoy those things. And so if I would see, fully transparent, if I would see frivolous spending that I thought we were wasting dollars, and I've done this in every board I've ever sat on, I've done this in the county as well, I ask the question, why are we doing that? Sometimes there are things we do, whether it's here, the school, or the county, we have programs or things we do that when they were first put into place, it made sense and it was doing good things. And sometimes, you guys understand this, we just do things because we've always done it. Well, I like to ask the question, why are we doing that? Well, because 15 years ago, this is what we needed and this is what was important. But is it still needed today? Is that still needed today? And so those are the questions that I love to ask. So I don't know if there's necessarily intentional frivolous spending, because if I saw that, I would call it out. I don't have a problem calling out something that I see if we're wasting dollars on something. I've done that every place that I've gone. The county, the school board, I don't mind saying that. But I try to watch that close, that we're not wasting dollars, because it's my dollars as well. It's your dollars as well. And I don't want to waste anything, but I also want to take everyone's viewpoint into account, not just what's best for me and what I think. I want to think about all the people that use our facilities and use Sandy Pines.
Thank you. Jill.
I watch my checkbook very closely. I'm on a fixed income. I feel like I would be watching our checkbook, the bigger checkbook, equally close. Questioning cost. Where can we save money? This additional capital campaign goes through, it'll be a much bigger job. It's hard now because we don't really have that deep a dive as members into the details of the spending and the potential savings that maybe could be garnered inside that financial statement. So my focus would be diving deep into what and where our money is going.
Thank you. Angie, go ahead.
Thank you. First, before I would go outside of the park to have somebody come in and tell us how to build, what to build, where to build, and what to do and tear down trees, I would tap the park residents. We have a lot of architects in here. We have lawyers in here. We've got engineers in here. They could look at these buildings. They could be a committee, and they could say, you know what, this building does need replaced. It does removed, or we could, like Steve says, he's got experience in that. We could figure out how to fix this. That way, it still keeps the same look at the park. So I think the board needs to tap the members more with their talents than what they do. because there's a lot of knowledge out there, but people, when we do tap the members, they just need to step forward and help out too. So it's not always on the board, but it's also on the members too. We use it as a group, as a committee. And then on the surveys, I don't know about you, but I get so confused on those questions. You know, number 1 through 10, what's more important to you? And there's like 9 of them aren't even important to me, but do I put that as 2, 3, or 4, or what? Make more to the point questions. Do we need a new FEMA building? Yes or no? Your answer. Do we need to spend this much money on this? Yes or no? Your answer. And then at the end, it could say, give me some suggestions. What do you really think? That would make it a little bit more easier, I think, for the board to also know where we're standing at and where we're coming from.
Thank you. Pat?
I don't believe that, I kind of agree with Craig that there's times that we look at what the board is spending money on or what the finance committee has approved and said, well, that doesn't fit my needs. So I think that we just have to keep everything equal. I don't believe that we waste any of our money in here. I do believe that our buildings need to be maintained. We don't always have to tear them down. We can fix them if that's in the best interest, but I also believe that some of our buildings, putting more and more money into them might end up costing us more money than if we just rebuilt them. So I think that it's important that we look at all of the data that is given to us and make a good decision. I also think that before we make that decision, we need to let our members know why we're making that decision and let them see the data too. And it shouldn't be behind closed doors, as some people say.
Thank you. Brad?
Yeah, I really agree with what Craig and Pat have just said. You know, as you get more involved in the work of Sandy Pines, you learn more and more, but I don't see outright waste yet. I mean, but I'm not on the board yet. Hopefully I will be, but, you know, and I do feel like it was very important to bring an outside organization, an independent outside organization, to come in here and do an assessment of our buildings. To me, that brought objectivity and non-biased feedback to us that said, this is the state of your buildings. So we didn't have Brad's opinion or one of our 5 opinions, or, you know, we had an outside group has no interest in the park outside of doing what they were hired to do. They came back and they classified our buildings as red, yellow, and green. The red were our buildings and infrastructure that were beyond, that would cost us more to replace, to repair than to replace. It would be cheaper for us to replace the building than to maintain that building. The buildings they listed as yellow are those that are sort of iffy, that we really need to put more time into the preventative maintenance of that. And that's where I think our members could be very helpful to help us maintain our buildings and provide input. But I think having that outside firm was very helpful. And I also think it was very helpful for us to put together a long-term strategic plan. So when the board turns over or members turn over, that we have a continual plan that we're trying to follow, as opposed to it changing every year, that kind of thing. So with that, I think looking at waste is always critical, Steve, and I think that is something that, you know, I hear conversations about. I too don't use a lot of the features of this park, but I use the main feature of this park, and that's the park and the atmosphere and I love watching. We have 2 grown children, but I love watching the young children play in this park. I love the activities we have for these children. I love the activities we have for the adults and the teens. And I don't take part of it, but to me, it's all invested in making this culture and milieu, excuse me, I can't get that out this morning, what it is. So I think that's where we need to keep
Thank you.
focusing.
Yeah. Okay, who's next? Yeah, well, and I have some, we're gonna get everybody that's in the audience first, because they took the time to come here. If we have time, I've as well got some write-in that I will ask the members of the board as well.
Jeff Ryan, 372, just as a follow-up on Steve's last question on the frivolous spending, there's been grumblings that some of those architectural 3D drawings cost $80,000, $90,000 out of the fund. I don't know if that's accurate number, but can you clarify that? And if that is anywhere in the ballpark, would you consider that frivolous spending, since nobody's really agreed to any amphitheater? Thank you.
Well, and obviously, like you said, we can get that answer back to you. I don't personally think that's an accurate statement, but I'm just gonna say that. I mean, people throw numbers around, but that's a question for the board, not for candidates that have no knowledge of that, but we will get the information.
I think it's way high. That's way, way high. And
Yeah,
not
well,
even close.
I don't wanna get, I don't know. We'll get you the information. These looks familiar.
I'm still here.
Like I
So,
said, make
Jeff,
it quick, because we got a whole list of other ones too, so we're not gonna keep.
D128, yes, that was 85-some thousand, was stated by the board. That's how much they spent on that, so.
Well, I think,
clarification.
just to clarify that, and we're not gonna get into, that's not
Right.
fair to the candidates.
Okay,
That's not accurate. It was for all the services that were provided, a dollar amount. It wasn't for rendering, so, but we'll leave it at that.
right,
We'll,
so the entire contract.
Well, that's
that
not
the
what he
board
said,
to
but
get.
go ahead.
Right, okay. It's difficult when we split hairs.
Different thing.
Hi, Lori Spence. One of my lots is 5509, or 55209. Sorry. I realize that the vote for capital campaign is going to be to the members, so we all get our opinion. But I would really like to know what the candidates' opinions of this are. Do I believe long-range planning is important? Absolutely. Everybody plans their home, their future, long-term. We don't plan 5 years. But should our finances be a 5-year or smaller than that as far as what we're voting on? Do you think we should be voting on a shorter term or a longer term?
Okay, and we'll try to condense that down. Don't go on and on about the plan. Just, do you think it should? Go ahead, Jill. You're fine. Does it,
My opinion on that is 25 scaled down to now 15 is still way too long. I think we should be looking at a 5 to 7 year plan. Raise some funds for the projects that might be constructed or revamped or reimagined in that time frame, and then see if the board and the administration has followed what we said we wanted, and prove that they're listening to us, and then we consider what's next for the next 5 to 7 years. And take it, because the board's going to change, the membership desires is going to change, the administration's going to change. So a lot of moving parts over a huge time frame is very problematic,
Thank
in
you.
my
Angie?
opinion.
I'll be short and sweet.
yeah,
I
that's
agree.
and just in the spirit of time. that's
Perfect. I agree with Jill. Everything she said, it should be less. I'm thinking at least no more than 5 years, in my opinion.
all. Thank you. Pat?
I think 5 years is too short. I think we should at least go 10. I know that our capital improvement, the last time that we voted for it, was a 10-year plan. The reason that I think the 5-year plan is too short is because we would just get into everything and then it'd be time to vote again. We need to be able to vote for something that we can actually go out to. So I think it should at least be a 10-year plan, not 5 or 7.
Thank you. Brad?
That's why we get to vote, right? We get to vote if we want to have a 15-year plan or not. And the board has to follow that vote. I think a longer range investment in this park is what is needed. As much as we don't like the length of this, and as much as we don't like the cost of this, we're in this position because we haven't instituted a long-term kind of strategy, and that's what we need to do. We need to move away from we moved in here 10 years ago and we approved that $200 a year for the capital campaign. That's over with already. To me, it feels like we just got started. And I don't want us to be I won't probably be living that long, but I think we need to have something consistent and well thought through, and I guess that's the end of it.
Thank you. Craig?
Yeah, so the 25 that we first presented, we spent a long time in the committee over the winter talking about that, and then putting that out. Speaking for the board, I guess I could say, or our conversation after that, we all came back and said, we think 25 is too much. Like, it's like we're hearing everybody. It's too long, and so the plan is not going to change. The things we've identified through our survey and through Whitman, not through the board wanting different things, are still reality. Whether you do 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, those things need to be addressed at some point. So really, it's more length. And again, you can go back to, well, I don't want that and I don't want this. You can do that, but these things need to be addressed at some point. And so 15, I'm comfortable with 15. I voted for yes for 15, so I'm not going to back off from that. Now, if the membership does not like that and doesn't do that, the next board, if I'm on there, hopefully, if not, they'll have to look at that. Is it a year's? How do they adjust that to bring it back to you next year, bring it back to us to vote on? But 15 years, I think 10 years is a possibility. I guess every person has their own thing, but this, again, is why we put it out for you guys to vote, so we can know kind of how you feel.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I don't really, my name is Heather, and I'm in 4079, and it's not really a question, it's just a comment, and I just feel I want someone, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, that's going to listen to us. I don't feel like when that board sits up there that their views reflect mine or a lot of other people's. I just really want someone who can sit up here and say, you know what? I have a group of people. I've talked with people. I've been in phase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And this is what people are saying. And I'm going to vote for what they want and what they say. I was so excited. You know, I'm kind of, I don't want to say I'm newer here, but I'm newer to getting involved because I hear a lot of things that are changing, things that are coming up that I'm like, whoa, wait, I need to get involved. I need to listen. I need to find out. So I'm trying to educate myself. But I just feel like the people that are sitting up there, it's a no, and then let's move on.
Okay.
How
thank
about?
you. Go ahead. Just go ahead and finish up your statement.
Oh.
We got about 8 minutes, and I want to give everybody an opportunity to.
Oh, I didn't see anybody else standing. Okay, so that's just mine. I'm just hoping that people will listen to the people, and I'm looking for someone who is going to say, you know what? I know everybody else up here is maybe a yes man or this and this and that, but I'm going to stand up and I want somebody to listen to what the people are saying and want.
Thank you. Anybody want to respond?
I'd like to respond if I can. So, as for myself, I can only speak for myself. So it is not hard to find my name, number, address. It's all public knowledge for the church, through the county. Any phone call that you want to call me, if you want to call and yell at me, you want to talk to me, I will take your phone call and sit. The other day I sat with 2 members that wanted to talk about it, about what's going on. We sat on my porch for 2 hours. They can have time. You can have time. If you call me and you call me, every person that calls me, I will try to address and talk with. So I will listen to you. And I've done that through the county, through the church, through the school, and I'll continue it here. I will do that. So I do try to listen to everyone's opinion.
Thank you, Craig. Anybody else want to?
I agree. I mean, I believe that we need to listen and be. I'm a member. We're a member. My only reservation on that, if you come to my trailer and my front blinds are shut, that means I'm not ready for company yet. I haven't gotten up. So that's the code when
Thank
you come
you.
see me. If the blinds are open, I'm open to talk.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Sheila, K204, been a long member here for 26 years. And the things I hear people say that they want are electric upgrade. I want to flush my toilet. And we don't want to build new things. We just want to fix what we already have. That's what I constantly hear over and over and over and over. So that's what I'm hearing. I don't know if any of the rest of you hear that. And I have one question just for the girl in the pink shirt. When you say, I'm sorry, yeah, you. I don't know your name though. My question is for you is, you had wrote in your statement that I read that you would like to see the park stay open longer.
Mhm.
What do you have any
whole 6 months?
Yeah,
Yes. So it's for help to say if you need to get volunteers to help work in the ice cream place. We need, you know, I do not know, do we hire people from outside the park, like teenagers, high schoolers, or do we just keep it inside the park? If it's inside the park only for staffing, you're not going to have any staff. But we should open it up to outside the park, and they should have a way just to get in, to work, then leave. The step members, but to keep it open longer, the members have to step forward. Really, it's not all the board's board's issue. They hear the complaints and stuff, but I think the members need to step forward, and the board needs to let us know what they need. I had no idea until after 4 months it's closed, and why is that? Well, there's no staff. Well, why didn't I know about that? Somebody could have done something. So I think communication is big. You need to communicate the issues, communicate your needs, and move forward with that.
Thank you, Angie. Make sure you wear a pink shirt every time so they know who you're talking to. Go ahead.
My name is Brian St. Ange. I'm in Phase 7. Heather, there's Phase 7. We're condos over there. So 7028. So I keep hearing a recurring theme about people saying, well, we love what we have. We don't want a lot of changes. Let's rebuild or let's revamp rather than rebuild, right? I've only been here 13 years, and in 13 years, the difference is, like, let's look at just golf carts alone. There's a lot of extravagant golf carts riding around this park. When I came in here in 2013, the majority of the golf carts were basic what you got off of the golf course. There's a lot of new park models. I don't think Vacation Land is short for sales right now because everybody keeps, what are they doing? They're buying new, they're putting in new, they're getting new golf carts. So there's a recurring theme when people say, well, everybody wants this. Most people want this. How do we know? I mean, because we've all heard the term silent majority, right? So there's a lot of people that want things that you don't want. My question to you guys would be, how do you differentiate? How are you getting your information and making decisions based on what because you all said members make the decisions. So how are what are you using as a benchmark to determine what most members want? Is it social media? Is it meetings like this? Is it town halls? Where are you getting your information?
Thank you. Go ahead, just whoever wants to start. Like I said, our time is up, but we're going to hear from everybody again. We got a couple write-in questions that we're going to listen to and then answer, but anybody that wants to start with that one, go ahead.
I read the social media. I listen to my neighbors and around the campfires. I don't base my opinion on those sources. I feel like if people want to see something happen or have a voice, they need to organize, like a committee recently organized and presented an idea to the administration, which will eventually make it to the board. Organize. You have to show your opinion in mass numbers. Come here, speak to the board as a group. But no one source gives me my ultimate opinion.
Thank you. Anybody else? Go ahead and just weigh in that wants to.
Again, I agree with Jill, sorry. It's no one source. You're involved with tennis, you're involved with, you're at the park, you're talking to people. It's just not one person, it's not one group. I live in the condos, I hear the condo people. I live in the park, I hear the park people. It's interesting to read social media and see what they're saying and all the wild things that they say out there. But there's always a grain of truth to some of that too. You got to keep in mind it's based on something, and it just expands off that. So just talking to everybody, just not your people right next to you. You got to get involved and get out into the park to talk to people.
Thank you. Go ahead, Pat.
I like that question because it concerns me when Brad says only 1,200 people did the survey that they sent out. So is it because there was a lack of communication with that? Is there people that don't have social media, don't get online, so they don't know how? So it'd be really nice if we could get more input, because that's just over a little bit than 50%. So we're losing like 45% of our members. giving us our opinion. So I think that's something that we need to really look at. Do we need to walk around and talk to people when they're there and check it off to really know what our membership wants? Because that's not enough for me. You know, in education, we have to have 80% of our kids to say that they've mastered something. So that would be something I would like to look into to see how we can get more of our members' input.
Thank you. Brad?
And the interesting thing, Pat, about that 1,200, that was the highest response we've ever gotten back on a survey. So I think more surveys, more responses, more member input is paramount. I've tried to work off of facts. You know, what are the facts? And this is the way I get facts, is by talking to people, listening, listening to the experts, but also these surveys are critical. So if you see a survey, take it. Spend a couple minutes and take it, because it's really important. I think it drives a lot of the park.
Thank you. Go ahead, Craig.
So the survey is a big part. One thing I think we have to be cautious of is we surround ourselves in an echo chamber of people that think like we do and agree with us. And so when we say things, it bounces right back to us because they think the same way. So getting people's opinion that don't agree with you or see something a different way is an important thing to do, because you see something different. And that's how a board works. You have 8, 9, 7 people, whatever different boards are, that have different opinions and a different way to look at it. And many times I've said, yeah, I never thought of it that way. I never saw that. And so for me, the survey is one of them. Asking the board, what are you hearing when you've talked to people? Asking neighbors, what are you hearing as you have conversations, those fireside, as Jeff was talking about, like what are you hearing? So, because I want to hear outside of my echo chamber to hear if that's really how everybody feels, or just, well, all my 12 friends feel the same way, so we're everybody. Well, that's not necessarily true. Like, I want to hear someone else's opinion that doesn't think like me.
Thank you. Okay, Steve's going to read us a hot question from Florida. So,
Yeah, she's Mindy LeBrown. She's down in Florida, waiting for her first grandchild to be born. And she couldn't be here, so she said, and this is, everybody sitting down, this is a simple question, yes or no. Will you, if you're elected, sign an NDA?
thank you. NDA. Conflict of interest. It's a conflict of interest for him, is what he. Go ahead, Jill. She grabbed right hold of the mic. So.
Simple answer is I will not be silenced. I think the membership should know what's going on, and I am not in agreement with signing it.
I agree with Jill.
They said that out here before you even said it. Go ahead, Pat.
I will sign it because I've been on committees, and there are things that we should not discuss until they have been said, yes, we're going to present this to the board. As a finance person, I don't even talk to my husband about some of the things that are coming up because it's not up yet. So there are things that we should not be talking about to our members until it's got a final decision. And the other thing is, I want to be able to know that my comments, when I say them in a committee or on the board, that the person sitting next to me isn't going to go on the fireside and start talking about my opinions and running me down.
Thank you. Brad?
Yeah, I'll be signing it. It's not an NDA. It's a confidentiality agreement. And there's these reasons that Pat just outlined are critical. That doesn't mean we can't get information, we can't learn, we can't talk about issues. It just, I mean, when we're talking, I mean, the boards that I've been on school boards, I'm on an international pediatric board. We're talking about employees, we're talking about discipline issues, we're talking about important things that those need to be private, right? We don't want to be talking about staffing issues and those kind of things and discipline issues with the membership. I will be signing it because it takes a long time and takes a lot of time for debate and understanding, and it's very important. I think.
You. Great.
Yeah. I don't have a problem signing it. When they're talking about this, so when we are in a work session, there's things that are brought up and we talk about that honestly go nowhere. There are conversations that they end up, it's a conversation for 10 minutes, and it's like, no, it's not going to work, and it goes nowhere. Now, out of that, you could bring that and say, well, they're going to do this. We're not. We just had a conversation. Beyond that, as we sit in board meetings and people get up and talk, and you want every bit of transparency and full disclosure, do you really want me to explain all the violations that you have in front of everybody? Is that what you want me to do? Because I can, if that's what you want me to do. If we want to be fully transparent, then everyone that walks up, I'll explain to you everything they've done and every associate that they've had sign in and everything that they've done wrong. Why can't we just, let's be really transparent? At some point, you have to have some decorum, right? That's not everybody's business. And so if you want to take that and spin it as I'm hiding things from you or that we're being deceitful or nefarious, like I guess if you want to spin that, go ahead. But there has to be some decorum. Like, I'm not going to let out everything that, and I'm not privy to everything, but at that point, like, where do we draw a line? And then where do we stop attacking? And then what happens on social media? And then somebody's attacked, and social media.
Okay. Just
is
for
a dangerous thing.
clarification, maybe the ethics code or the NDA should be revised to state we won't be talking about employee matters, we won't be talking about legal matters until they're settled.
That's a great thing. When you're elected, you can implement that, and we'll go from there. So it is what it is today, and that was the question, right? And that's everybody's answer. So Steve got his in all the way from Florida, and this is last call. So we were supposed to be done at 10 o'clock. I know they got the building rented, and they got all right, go ahead, young man.
Dave Hires, 4032. I'd like to know how you feel about the non-compliance issues that are going on, because if the statistics are right, 1 in 3 people in the park are non-compliant. That means 3 out of 9 board members are non-compliant. How can they sit there and tell me what to do when they're not doing it? Thank you.
So just to clarify, what was the question? The 3 of us that are non-compliant, or
The question is, how do you?
I'm just trying to follow the bouncing
that
ball.
was more of a statement. But if the board members are out of compliant, how can they tell us to get into compliance when they don't feel they have to? And there was some self-serving agreements that, well, now we don't have to do this until we sell. We don't have to do this until then.
Go ahead, Craig.
But yet I can't do it.
So it's a good question. So, and I can only speak for myself inside of this. So the last thing I did that I pulled a permit for, and you can go ask the inspector this. This is what I told him: when you come to my site, check my whole site and find out if anything's wrong so I can bring it into compliance. Because how can I chair a board and sit on a board while I'm out of compliance and breaking rules? And I said, so if you find something that's wrong, tell me what's wrong, and I will get it in compliance. So that, I can only speak for myself, but you can ask the inspector. That's what I told him specifically.
Anybody else?
There's now a system in place that if you sell your lot, your house, and it's out of compliance, you fix it or negotiate with the buyer to have it brought back into compliance. And that's not forcing everyone to take care of it immediately and incur additional costs. So there is a system in place. I personally think it's fair, and that's my opinion on it.
You can agree with Jill, because what she said is actually 100% accurate. So it's already past our time,
Well,
so.
You know, you're letting a lot of the people speak a long time, so I'm gonna take my time here. I think that the people that had permission to do it, they should be grandfathered in. They should, going forward from the time this rule was set, is when it should apply to the people going forward. But I know quite a few people that have it, and it's not fair because they bought it that way. They didn't do it, they bought it that way. So they should be grandfathered in. Any rules should not be retroactive, because this inspector said you could, this inspector says you can't. 2 years from now, another inspector will say you can or you can't. Hopefully Jim will still be here. But in my opinion, it should be grandfathered in.
Thank you. Pat, did you want to add it? If not, that's fine. Okay, anybody?
I don't know what all the people who are in compliance and non-compliance. I don't have that information to comment on it, so.
Thank you. Okay, so thanks everybody. We're going to give everybody an opportunity. We did have some write-in. I mean, none of them were earth-shattering. One of them, maybe you can answer when you give us your final spiel, is what is your vision for Sandy Pines? And I think that ties in good with kind of just wrapping it up. And we'll start with Mr. Craig.
Just what I talked about earlier, just for a place that people can go to relax, to raise their family, to feel safe, to make memories. And that's what I want. That's what Sandy Pines has always been. You know, as you ride around 4th of July, you see people excited and having fun. That's what ultimately what I want. People to enjoy this place.
Thank you. Brad?
I want to add value to the board. I want to add value to this organization, and that's why I'm running for the board. I believe in this place very strongly. I was fortunate my 2 sisters were here, and my niece was here, and that brought us here, and that's how a lot of us have gotten here, is through friends and family. I want this place to grow. I want this place to thrive, but I also want this place to be accessible. I want it to be accessible to a wide economic group of people. But I think the safety here, I mean, I feel safe when I'm here. I relax when I'm here, and I want that to continue. I want to add value. I want to represent the members, and I hope you consider me as a board member in the future.
Thank you. Go ahead, Pat.
I love this place. I want it to be around for my grandkids, my great-grandkids, my great-great-grandkids. And I am running for the board because I want to see that happen. I have a passion for this place. I live out here during the summer. I look forward to being here. So I hope you'll consider me for the board.
Thank you. Angie?
All right, I'll read what I wrote so I don't go on and on and on. Let's see. My vision is for Sandy Pines should continue to improve without losing the character that makes it unique. I support thoughtful growth, strong stewardship of member investment, and preserving the tradition that bring families together. We need to remember that the foundation of this community started based on camping, campfires, enjoying friends and family, safe spaces for children and being budget friendly. While we can add new additions to the park like pickleball courts, tennis courts, new pools, and various other items that we would enjoy, I would like to see the park stay like a park, open, natural, and family-centered. No big structures with restrictive guidelines that would block the lake or take away from the family camping experience.
Thank you. Last but certainly not least, Jill.
I agree with everything Angie just said. In addition to what my fellow candidates said, I'm excited for the future of Sandy Pines, and I'm also excited to potentially represent you guys, us guys. And you know I live at K259, so if you want to talk about any issues, please stop by. I have an open door policy, and just as I did last year, and some people did come when I wasn't home, I had a little paper up there. You can write down your name, your number, your lot number, and I'll come and visit you. So everyone, thanks for coming, and have a great day.
Good. And again, thank everybody for coming and asking your questions and being involved. Thanks for the people that are listening at home and be able to, have input as well, and just be kind. It's the right thing to do. Thank you.